Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. This is Terry Lynn, aka Nikki, with Human Consciousness Support with Matt Senna. Today on the New Health Paradigm call, we have a special guest coming in. He is coming. He is finishing up one of his own clients' appointments right now, and so he'll be 10, 15 minutes later than us. And I said that's just fine because they'll give me some time to introduce the call to anyone that's new, introduce myself perhaps, and what we do here. So let me go ahead and do that. Welcome everybody. I expect a big crowd today. With that said, how we'll do the meeting is we'll have Will on, and he has a little presentation that he has prepared to tell us a little bit about hair mineral tissue analysis, and that is usually abbreviated in the acronym HTMA. And he's an expert in that. And we were kind of looking for that. I didn't know the first thing about hair tissue mineral analysis a year ago. And I'd never done it actually on myself. So I was really excited that we were getting into this realm, and super, super excited when I found somebody who I didn't find him actually, when we found somebody who has been doing this for a really long time. And he's going to explain his experience and why it's important, and what also, well, perhaps he might have to leave after an hour. So I might finish up the call and explain the program, because I can fill in the dots on that, what we have with MasterPeace. So I am a certified holistic health consultant. My background is in eating psychology, mind, body, nutrition, just holistic kind of health in general. It's a couple decades now at least. And I've been called the resident health coach for Human Conscious Support. I've been with the company since the company inception, and that's going on a year and a half now, believe it or not. So we opened our doors in about June. Matt Senna is also on the call. He is going to be looking at the chat real keenly and answering questions there. He'll bring something to my attention if I need it. I'll kind of glance over there as well, but I will not be very attentive to the chat. If anyone wants to reach me, you can at TLYNN at masterpeacebyhcs.com. And that last part follows all of our emails. You just have to remember the TLYN part the other 3 times. And let me just explain real quickly why I called it the New Health Paradigm, because we're starting to wake up. We're starting to realize that the last 100 years or so has been a big farce. And it's the Rockefeller medicine that came in and changed everything when it was working just fine. And so we've gotten really much farther away from where we should be as far as understanding health in the body. Because of that, it was a big takeover. It was a takeover. And so now people are realizing that something's wrong. They don't know exactly what, but they know something's wrong. And so what I really like to talk about, I kind of narrowed it down to, is that what is the quote new health paradigm? And it's not new, it's actually ancient. And that's the body heals itself if given the right conditions. That's all. That's all. But we have to unindoctrinate ourselves to understand something that's so simple. We have to peel through all of these lies and all of these misconceptions, and we have to relearn something that we knew all the time. And also we have new tools available, and that's a great thing. That's a beautiful thing. We have technology, at least the kind that serves us. We have knowledge, have worldwide knowledge that's very readily accessible. And so people are able to very quickly access health information, like what kind of herbs are good for this, that, and the other thing, homeopathy, what doctors who have training in these areas can I access? So we're learning to kind of combine, this is how I see it anyway, combine these two things and the ancient knowledge that we had, relearning that, unlearning the stuff in the middle, and then putting the people and the pieces in there that we have now that are accessible and can support this understanding that's new to us. And so that's the new health paradigm. And what I'm trying to do is have a guest speaker on about once a month who supports these ideas. And Will is definitely in that camp with us. He is been working with clients for a really long time, and he's been nicknamed, I believe, the Mineral Man. So he has a special knowledge, experiential knowledge with minerals, and that's something that we're keenly interested in right now, because not only is zeolite a mineral, but we understand that the body needs to have a optimal amount and ratio of minerals to operate correctly. And what MasterPeace does is it's going to take out the poisons at its own pace, and hopefully the pace that your body can handle and put up with. And that's going to leave a little bit of a void, because heavy metals and other toxins will take the place of things that should be there for health. In the case of heavy metals, for sure, it's going to try to do the job of that mineral that is supposed to really be there, and can't really do it, but it's going to try. The body's going to try to use what it can. We're like 10% synthetic at this point, all of us. And so when that is removed, at least theoretically, we have pretty good evidence that there's a space there. And if you don't have the raw materials coming in to replace that, sometimes we can get some symptoms that appear to be side effects. So when I started talking to Will, in our conversations, we both realized we were very much on the same wavelength, and his expertise is something that I really wanted to tap into. And so with that said, he is going to be filling in some gaps for us, and I hope to have him on a few times. And he is also going to make himself available to our customers, and we'll explain that at the end as well. And whenever we have a guest speaker, we will record. Normally we don't. I want everyone to have free-flowing conversation and not worry if they're going to be on blast with their diabetes situation or anything like that. And I just don't think it's necessary. I want people to come to the calls. I don't want 5 people to come every week and the rest depend on the recording. I want it to be a community kind of event. So that was my purpose. So with that said, we have a hand up, and I do not know how to pronounce your name, so you'll have to tell me. The gentleman looks like he's in I'm going to say a Subway, but I can't tell.
It's actually a shopping mall.
Okay.
Yeah. That was the only thing available right now. But anyway, hey to everyone. Name is Istok.
Istok.
Yeah, Slovenia in Europe.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And basically, I just have some general questions, quick questions about the products itself. Like I live pretty healthy, but I, kind of like eating to detoxify as well. But I haven't done a zeolite detox yet. And I was just wondering what would be a good product to start, either the Master Restore or the other one, the MasterPeace. That's the first question.
Yeah, great question. I usually say it in general probably doesn't matter. Because it really depends on the person's specific details, and that's something so I don't like to make a blanket answer. However, what I do say is to start one at a time, because when you're changing something in your routine, if you're doing more than one thing at a time and you feel a certain way, whether it's good or bad, you don't know which thing it was. And so in order to be more objective in your course, then I would only change one thing at a time. So in this case, if you feel more drawn, I really like to talk about and help people to appreciate that they have all the answers inside them. And so we just need to tap into that. And so what is your intuition telling you? What is your body telling you? It could be that that is the one that you should start first. And so um, in the absence of that, I would say start MasterPeace first.
Okay.
Start the star product first. Yep, go
Okay,
ahead.
yeah. Yeah, no, that's actually what funny you mentioned. I totally agree what you say. And I had an intuition more about MasterPeace, but then kind of logic kicked in and I was thinking, well, maybe clean up the gut first with the bigger parts, as I understood for the Master Restore. So I didn't know how to reconcile these two.
Yes. And you can see, so I see that you know the benefits. So yeah, so the Master Restore is going to be a bit of a gut cleanse, not something heavy because of the particle range size. Not all of it's going to stay in the gut, but it is going to transport to the body through the gut. So that's a different transport system, you might say, not system, the transport mechanism or action there through the gut, rather than MasterPeace going right through the mucous membranes and interstitial fluid in your mouth. So Will, I know you have a somewhat of a limited time. We have a nice comfy hour or so. So what I've asked Will to do is to come on and explain, first of all, who is he? What are his credentials and what has he been up to that he's excited about, especially in his career and as it relates to hair, mineral, tissue analysis, and anything, you know, to do with your clientele. And then also after we get a full introduction on who he is, and that will explain why we're working with him. Also, the second piece is what is hair tissue mineral analysis? It's hard for me to say. What is it? Like, you know, he's the expert. He's going to tell us what it is. And then from there, we'll see where it goes. So, Will, I'm going to give you the floor.
My name is Will Houghton. I'm known as Mineral Man on YouTube, probably for obvious reason. I've actually changed my YouTube name over time. I started off as something completely different, whole balance, then New Energy 21. And I've got a very creative mind, so I just thought what fits with me best. And then one day I'm walking down the street thinking, well, what have I done for the last 13 years? And that's work with minerals, suggested minerals, look at how minerals work in the body and this sort of thing. So I thought, hey, Mineral Man, put a cape on and go and save the world. And so, as I said, I've been in it for 13, 14 years now. And so I decided to train in natural medicine, like we all do when we run into trouble and you don't get answers from the medical world. And so for me, I had a high-level career in media in London. I worked for Time magazine as well as other various media companies. I then started my own businesses. And looking back, you know, I was pretty healthy and strong in my 20s and that sort of thing. But the more energy you give away without looking after yourself, and you're not really keeping on point with your diet. And one of the businesses that I was doing in the early 2000s was running a marine business, which is full of toxins. And I was looking after teams that were looking after like boats in marine near London. And without knowing it, I was going to dusty environments, getting kind of waxes and polishes on my hands and paints on my hands, this sort of thing. And so over the years, I then started a family. I got married, started a family. And as human beings, we only have so much energy. And I found over, I would say, probably a period of maybe 10 years working in high-level stress, and then starting one business which worked in quite a toxic environment. Around 2008, 2009, something didn't feel right. I went and had lots of tests with the medical world, like we all do. The doctor is our superhero, right, when we're growing up. And I had every test under the sun, my work, paid for a lot of tests, and coming normal. Nothing was coming back, nothing was wrong. And I was like, why do I feel so tired? What is wrong with me? It's like everyone else seems to be all right. But then I spent, I would say, another 18 months in natural medicine, trying to get to the bottom of it, visiting nutritionists, acupuncturists. I did everything. Reiki teachers, Reiki masters. I wanted everything to try and help why I had low energy, what was wrong. And one day I was walking past a nutrition shop and advertised hair mineral analysis. And I thought, wow, it sounds interesting. And it automatically resonated with me. And so I had my test done. Then I got my results a couple of weeks later. And I went to see the lady in the nutrition shop. And she handed me the report and said, wow, you've got high calcium. And I was like, okay, what does that mean? And she said, well, you probably eat too much cheese. And gave me the report and said, bye then. I was like, right, okay. But I was looking at this graph and looking at this test thinking, this is a comprehensive analysis of my body chemistry. There's got to be someone out there that knows what this means. And in the end, after a search, I actually found practitioner and professor based in Arizona, Dr. Lawrence Wilson, and started communicating with him. And then he then recommended a practitioner, which was one of his proteges. And then I didn't look back. I was given what I needed. I found out what was wrong in mineral deficiencies in my endocrine system, what was wrong with my oxidation. And I was then able to fix it with the right diet, with the right minerals, and understanding detoxification and that sort of thing. And so that was my journey. I've now been doing hair analysis. I trained with Dr. Wilson himself about 13, 14 years ago now. I also have qualifications in naturopathic medicine, scalar therapy. I also do energy healing protocols, but really my speciality over the years, people ask me what I do, and I'm a hair mineral analysis consultant because I have a worldwide practice. I have some very influential clients. I can't really talk about that at the moment, but I have some clients who are relatively well known. I have some which are very high in the corporate world. I have doctors as my clients, which is a really interesting one. And so doctors, I find doctors when they retire, or sometimes not, but often I get retired doctors coming to me going, there has to be more. And the fascinating thing about doctors is that they learn all about minerals when they're training.
They
And
do, or they do?
They do. They learn about sodium potassium ratios. They learn about calcium magnesium ratios. I didn't know this until I spoke to my sister-in-law, who's a GP in France.
Yeah.
And I started talking about this stuff over the dinner table once, and she was like, "Oh yeah. I'm like, you know this stuff? Why don't you use it?" He's like, "Oh well, And the answer to that is because we use drugs.
Yeah. They learn that so they can read the testing, the sets that they do have.
Yeah, which is, again, I'll come to this, it's limited. And so, I mean, that leads us on. That's who I am. If there's anyone got any questions about that, I mean, I live 16 miles southwest of London, which I really need to change, given the amount of EMF I'm currently subjected to. And yeah, I've lived in the UK most of my life. I lived in Australia for a while. But that's me in a nutshell. And so I'm now, I think, the longest serving hair analysis practitioner in Europe. We've built our own systems in the UK to actually analyze incoming hair tests from the US, because we use a US lab. Because we found the research the labs were pumping out on the back of the hair analysis graph was a bit outdated. And we knew new patterns were emerging on hair analysis. And so we built our own algorithm and analysis platform. So we can now put the hair testing through this and get better information to the clients, which is better summarized, better, more detail, and more relevant. It's up to date. We're always changing our information. If we find out something new, then we will add that to our algorithm, which will then process someone's hair test. So that's me in a nutshell.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So people often, there have been, let me say this correctly, we have had plenty of times when people have asked us, how do I track my progress with MasterPeace with using this product? I want to get a baseline of where I'm at now, and I want to know in 6 months or however long the next, what I'm looking like. And so we haven't had you know, much information on hair mineral testing. And we're very excited to be able to offer this information and your services to the people that we also serve with MasterPeace. So with that said, someone who doesn't know a whole lot about hair mineral tissue analysis, am I saying that right? It's HTM.
Yeah. Just call it HTMA. It's easier.
No, I'm gonna transpose those T and that M.
Yeah, a lot of it's just hair mineral analysis. A lot
Here,
of
I'll
people
just say that.
don't know more about the tissue bit.
So for those that don't know much about it, and I'm guessing it's the bulk of the people on this call, including myself, tell us a little bit about what a person can expect with two things. One with the test itself, and then how maybe what you're doing is comparing with what they're just going to get run of the mill. So what are we looking for? What are people able to analyze objectively when they get a test like this?
Okay, well, let's firstly start with why hair analysis compared to other testing.
Great start. Thank you.
Yeah, and so if you think of the world and the universe, it's all made of minerals.
Yeah.
Our planet, our food, our bodies, planets, stars, rocks, everything here, animals, plants, is all made of minerals. And so firstly, you've got to ask yourself the question, why would I not test that? Because well, I'll talk about when we used to be born, we used to be born with perfect balance. These days, toxic metals and all sorts of stress conditions have changed the way now even children are born. They're born with toxicity and also weakened immune system, weakened mineral imbalances and all sorts of things. But minerals are the foundation of your body, and they make everything work. They're the spark plugs for energy. Minerals actually encourage vitamins to be made within the body. And every organ, every gland, every hormone is relying on the correct minerals within your body to make you feel good. And so for me, learning that, and it took a while for me to learn that, I'm like, why is no one measuring it? Well, they were, but I didn't really know. But why is the mainstream not measuring it? And so with a hair analysis, if you think about your hair, if you think about your body, what can you test? Of course, we've all heard of blood tests, and you can test urine as well. But the thing with the blood test is it's quite instantaneous. It depends what you've done in the last hour or day to affect the levels of your minerals in your blood. As much it can be quite helpful for detecting disease, detecting the amount of hormones and that sort of thing. Well, even that's a bit wonky these days. They're based on a very short-term test. It's a very short-term means of testing, and so it's not reliable to give us a longer-term picture of what's going on. And so, if you can imagine your hair, and actually your nails as well, they're a perfect storage site for what the body doesn't want. Feel your hair and look at how fast it grows. It grows quite quickly. It's just like a fax machine. And so it's booting out information all the time about you. It's actually like a really efficient big blood test over 4 months, a consistent one over 4 months, because it's measuring extracellular activity, not intracellular, extracellular, what's going on in the blood, what's going on in the fluids, what's being emitted from the body. It's giving you an idea of what's going on inside. And it's basically, when we do it to get practical, when we take a hair analysis, it's basically a sample of hair from the back of the head from different areas. And so you don't have to worry about anyone seeing a gap or anything like that. It's about a tablespoon of hair. That is then sent to a lab, and with a spectrometer, that the hair is analysed. I know you guys are into microscopes and stuff like that, microscopy and stuff like this, at a very, very high level. And we use part per million in hair analysis to measure the minerals and toxins within the hair. So that's hair analysis in a nutshell. When you get a graph, you're going to measure macro minerals and trace minerals. And so macro minerals are found in abundance in the body. And so you've got sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, phosphorus. They're macro minerals. They're found in large amounts. Those first four minerals I mentioned are crucial for us to be able to measure things like nervous system function, endocrine function, someone's metabolism, and oxidation. But you can expect something 16 minerals and 6 major toxins. Some labs do loads and loads and loads and loads of minerals, loads and loads. Literally, the list is endless. And it's like sometimes I look at these and go, I'm paying for a lot of information here, but how useful is it? I want to know what's really useful. And what the lab that we use does is it cuts the wheat from the chaff. And why do you need to know? What is the crucial thing? Because too much information for people is not, I don't think it's a good thing. I think simplify it, get down to the nuts and bolts. People have got a short attention span, measure the minerals that are important. And so what does a hair analysis tell you about yourself? All these minerals found in the hair that we measure, what does it tell you? I've just covered that a little bit. It covers the metabolic rate that you're currently in. So are you going too fast? Are you going too slow? Are you converting food into energy too fast? Or are you doing it too slowly? The really important thing for hair analysis for me is the stage of stress that you are in. Because our lives at the moment, and have been for a very long time, by the way, not just after 2020. I think we all think 2020 was when our lives got stressful. It wasn't. We've lived in modern day slavery for a long time. And the media plays its part. And so, you know, in keeping us fearful and oppressed and this sort of thing. So life is hard. And so, you know, we can measure a stage of stress that you are currently at. So that's an alarm stage, a resistance stage, or an exhaustion stage. And it's really, really accurate. There was actually an article in the UK national press about 10 years ago. It's been removed now, actually, by a publication called the Daily Mail. And that article talked about how this journalist had found hair analysis and how amazing it was about how sodium potassium measured hormones, basically. The fact that he knew he was burnt out because the sodium potassium were low. It's a great article. It's just disappeared from the face of the planet now. But it will measure your stress system accurately. So when you talk about stress system, and you've got your central nervous system, you've got endocrine system, you've got your adrenal glands and thyroid gland, we can measure quite accurately the activity of the adrenals and the thyroid, whether they're burnt out, whether they're overactive. Can we slow you down? Can we speed you up? So again, this is come back to hormones. Do you want to feel good? Yeah. Everyone wants to feel good, don't they? And that's the hormones that are going to do that. And so the adrenal glands, aldosterone, cortisol, if they're in balance and they're pumping out a moderate amount, you'll feel good. They're feel-good hormones. What else can we measure on the hair analysis? Well, obviously, you know, the trace minerals, the zincs, the chromiums, the seleniums, they're really important. And so if the trace minerals go out of whack and the ratios start getting skewed, again, you see deficiencies. Things like zinc deficiencies can be a disaster for children, for development, for brain development, and also from a vein point of view, for your skin, your nails, your hair. Chromium to stabilize your blood sugar, selenium, brain and liver function. But all these minerals have vitally important functions within the body. I know you've ever seen an image of how the minerals interact. I think it's a circular image of where you see each mineral pointing to another one. And it's incredible. It's almost like a periodic table, but it's linking all the minerals up. And you see how one mineral is connected to 6, and how that one of those 6 is connected to 12. Body chemistry is incredible. And so we can measure that, but also I think when it comes to MasterPeace, and products like Master Restore and I think Master Nutrition you're soon going to be bringing out. It's all about toxic metals as well. And so is there a presence of free-floating toxic metals within your blood? Is there a hidden toxic metal syndrome within your cells? So we can pick this stuff up. If toxins, well, if minerals are too high or too low, there's a problem. If toxins are too high or too low, there's a problem. Now, it may sound strange if toxins are too low, if there's a problem, but we should all be booting out toxins a lot because we're surrounded by them a lot. And so we need to be getting rid of them at a moderate amount. However, on hair analysis, we can sometimes see when someone has very high toxins, and that's unnatural. So we have good benchmarks and parameters and averages for minerals and toxins that we consider a healthy amount of minerals and toxins the body is releasing. If that's too high or that is too low, we need to do something.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the key thing to remember. Someone says, you know, on a hair analysis, wait, my zinc is really high. That means you've got a lot of zinc. No, your body's losing zinc. Or my calcium's really high. I'm eating too much cheese, like I was told. Use this information. That's not true. Your body can't absorb it. It's getting rid of it. Or there's a reason that calcium is entering the bloodstream because it's leaching out the cells due to maybe EMF radiation. So you can get a very, very broad idea of what's going on in so many different ways with hair analysis, from hormone activity, stage of stress, digestion function, metabolism, toxicity deficiency. To be honest, throw in there the average of 4 months of activity, and to me, I've been doing this such a long time because I look at that information and say, well, that's the best I can get. That's the best I can get in averages with the most amount of information to do with things that are critical for my health.
Thank you. I just want to highlight a couple things in that so that we have that in mind of what Will was saying. So one of the things that caught my attention was that what we have with testing blood is we have a snapshot into where you are at that very second. It's not to say that that is not optimal in some situations. However, that is what it is. That's the test. That's all you can do. And that's why when you do serum testing, it's almost it's imperative that you see patterns, because you can't just go off of one test. Even the time of day that you test, especially in the realm of hormones, makes a big difference.
Yeah.
And so
Absolutely.
when you're getting, let's say, a thyroid panel, you want to see the patterns. You want to see 4 or 5 of these tests, you know, within a year or whatever. And so you look at the patterns. With the hair testing, you're already seeing the patterns in one test. So I like the way you said it was like a fax machine or like a Xerox, making, you know, these just, you know, all this information coming out of your hair, that it's all right there. You know, it's all right there. Now it only, you don't, when you cut, by the way, so I did a couple spots in the back and my hair is this long, right? So it's a tablespoon, but it's a tablespoon of an inch close to your, so, you know, you can't, women, you can't just get away with a, you know, a little strand and then, you know, wrap it up. Sorry.
So, also on that point, Terry, what I want to say is a lot of people ask me, does it matter if my hair is colored? No. So at least if you wash the hair at least 8 times, it's safe to take.
Okay. Good question.
A hair color dye used to have lead in it and other chemicals that we could measure, but now it doesn't. I'm not saying that hair dye is good for you. I'm saying that we won't measure it. It's not going to affect your measurements. But it's a real common question for ladies. But if you want to get away from it, you know, the hair goes. If you've got long hair, it goes down the back. You're not going to see these little stems, but you can take little bits at a time. You don't have to take a big chunk. I mean, my children hate it. I've got 2 girls. I've got 2 teenagers. Oh, God. Like, Dad, get away from me with those scissors. It's not happening. It's not going to happen. I'm like, well, it is going to happen. So, there you go. I can either do it badly or I can do it well. Your choice. So yeah.
One more thing I wanted to highlight. One more thing I wanted to highlight before you move on that you said was beautiful is that so when the toxins are too low, so here's the thing. We're all filled with poisons. Now everybody's different, and that's why we want to do the testing. But because we have a pretty baseline understanding that we're all going to have a certain amount of this, that, and the other thing that's really shouldn't be there. If the toxicity coming out is too low, what Will was saying was that's a problem. Not because you don't have it in there, but because your body's not releasing it. And so I would guess other ratios could give more indication on what's happening there. And also
Yeah.
maybe the person is coming in with a low lead count, you know, and you might be able to, after a couple of hair tests, kind of figure out, yeah, they're just low. They you know, they don't have much exposure. That's my guess. But
yeah, I mean, we can sometimes tell even if it's slightly elevated that it's toxic, and it's much more toxic inside. I mean, what we find with our hair testing is that people usually have low levels of toxic minerals and toxic metals, and over time, as they detox, those levels go up. It's a celebration to me when I see a toxin go up for a client. But it's not just toxic metals we're talking about. We're talking about toxic minerals, and sometimes minerals form in a bio-unavailable way in your body that blocks the bioavailability of minerals being consumed by you or supplements. If you've got too much bio-unavailability of that mineral, it won't be permeable into your cell, and so you have to get rid of the bio-unavailable crap. The big ones for me are copper, manganese, and iron. These three wreak havoc on our species. I mean, copper is used in a lot of contraception, copper IUD, the copper pill. These encourage unnatural amounts of copper in the system. Certain diets encourage a lot of copper. If you're eating a lot of chocolate, a lot of nuts, drinking a lot of coffee, usually a bio-unavailable form, and it just builds up and up and up in the cells. You have things like iron, which are really interesting as well, though, because a lot of people are anemic. And that is not due to you not consuming enough iron. It's due to the fact your iron level is too high. And so if we can bring down that bio-unavailable iron, you can start getting, you know, bioavailable iron, which makes you feel amazing. Bioavailable iron is awesome. It's like, you know, so we've got to remember that when we're detoxing, what we're looking for in the end, and toxins and minerals, they have some are softer than others. They come out easier. Aluminium comes out easy, we find. It's the first thing to come out. Then other toxins follow: mercury, cadmium, lead, cadmium, arsenic, lead, mercury, and then usually the last thing to come out is the copper, manganese, iron, and other toxic minerals. Or zinc can be toxic as well. And so if someone's really doing well, great diet, taking detoxification protocols, something like MasterPeace, over time you see all the graph just shoots up in levels, and we call that a coming alive pattern. When all the minerals elevate on a hair test because all the toxic crap is coming out. And it's a real celebration. And so we have different patterns on hair analysis. One's called the hill pattern. It's a celebration pattern where your first four macro minerals go up in a hill shape. But a coming alive pattern is easy to spot because everything's going up. And so I don't want to get into the details too much of hair analysis in that respect. But what I do want to talk about quickly, unless you had any other questions first.
Yeah, I wanted to highlight, not a question, but I just wanted to highlight what you just said there. So, and reiterate the fact that, so when we're talking about unbioavailable minerals or minerals that are not available to the body, that is a state of toxicity as well. Because if I'm hearing you correctly, from what I know from my prior knowledge, let's say we have, let's say we're taking off the shelf, we have people that are taking these supplements and they're not bioavailable to the body. And so they're just going to take up space, possibly be stored. And it might be iron or it might be copper, but it's not usable by the body. And so it's taking up space, and it's also gunking up things. And so when you get that out, you know, and you might, I don't know, does that test as a person having enough copper? I don't know. But, you know, when you get that out, now that space is freed up, just like what I was talking about at the beginning of the call at MasterPeace, being able to take out things that are trying to do the job of a bioavailable mineral, and then you must
Yeah,
replace it.
yeah, yeah,
So, okay.
yeah. And so also, I think I've heard on one of your calls before, I think with Matt Senna, mineral gapping.
Yes.
And so a toxin has replaced a certain mineral. So lead and calcium have that relationship, where lead can do the job, albeit badly. And in a I think you guys talk about positive and negative ions quite a lot and that sort of thing. It's creating a charge within the body. And so when you remove the lead, there's a gap. And so which the calcium can fill. But you need to get rid of the lead first.
Here's a fun fact about that. You tell me what you think. We don't have to get real deep into it, but so when a person gets older and they start to lose bone mass,
Yeah,
lead is stored in the bones. And so that's interesting that you said there's a relationship there between calcium and bones are much more than calcium, by the way. You know, you and I know that. But
yeah.
so when there's bone loss, now the lead starts getting freed up throughout the
Yeah.
body. And now you have lead poisoning because you're
Yeah.
getting older. So that makes perfect sense.
We know they say a lot of a popular thing to do in alternative medicine is to drink bone broth.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't drink too much of it because you're leaching cow's bones in a pressure cooker.
Yeah.
And so bone broth is wonderful, by the way, once or twice a week, but some people put it on, do it every day. And it's like, you might find there's some lead there because you've literally pressure cooked the bones to an inch of their life. And, you know, yeah, there's great calcium there, but there might be a bit of lead as well.
Yeah.
But I'm not telling anyone to stop drinking beef broth, by the way. Beef broth has many wonderful properties to it as well. So one thing that I wanted to cover quickly before we start taking questions and that sort of thing was our lab that we use.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. And so you Google hair analysis, right? Hair mineral analysis, and 100, 200 pages will come up of laboratories, systems, individuals that can do it. What you find is it's in human nature, unfortunately, for us to go for a sponsored on Google test, £29 for accurate hair mineral analysis. And it's like, it's very tempting to go down that road. But one thing you'll find, what I'm now finding more and more is the case, is that these tests are done by Vega machines. They're done by bioresonance machines. They're done by individuals that have this equipment, which is relatively cheap to buy. And this hair mineral analysis is nothing to do with what I'm talking about. It's measuring food allergy. It's measuring food intolerance. It's measuring, it thinks it measures minerals. And I, out of curiosity, buy these tests sometimes just to see how they are. And often they are telling you maybe you've got a slight intolerance to gluten or wheat. When in fact, when it comes to the minerals, they have like a traffic light system, which is good, moderate, or bad. It's not telling you a level, it's not telling you anything. And I tested a lot of the cheaper tests against our mineral analysis, and they were saying that minerals were good, when in fact, on the real mineral analysis, they were bad. And so a lot of hair analysis you're getting out there is not a proper lab tested analysis. It is an individual or a company using several machines to energy test the hair. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And it could be really useful for someone that has a dairy allergy or something like that. And they find out, but you're going to get one or two things out of that. It's not hair analysis, basically. Well, it is, but it's not a proper hair mineral analysis. And so let's just say you move on from that and realize that and go, right, okay, a lot of hair analysis online is that. Then you go, okay, right, what's proper hair tissue mineral analysis? Then you've got lots of labs doing that as well. And so what is the difference between the lab we use and those guys? So me being my type of personality that I am, I started doing this. After a few years, I'm like, I can get this cheaper. I can go somewhere else. I can get my own independent relationship with the lab. And so I started testing other laboratories. Poland, Italy, Spain, Sweden, Russia, Canada. And I just tested. And they said, yeah, well, you can do the whole of Europe by yourself. And I'm like, yeah, great. And then I would go down this route and I'd just look at the test results of clients or myself, what I knew what the results should be, and they were way off. And I started doing my research of what is it about those labs which is different to what our lab does. And so the first critical point is that the lab does not wash the hair. So when a sample is sent, a lot of labs, especially in Europe, they will wash the hair, sometimes with chemicals. Now, you can't get an accurate sodium potassium reading when the sodium potassium has been stripped out by a chemical agent. So you're seeing, on all the other labs, I've seen really low sodium potassium, thinking it's not right. And those two minerals are possibly the two most important on that graph. And so the first thing, we don't wash the hair. That's really important for people to understand because it can skew your results, not just of sodium, potassium, but others as well. The lab that we use also, Dr. Eck, who basically realized the value of hair in the 1970s, formed that lab. He was the pioneer of hair analysis. He had the best research about hair analysis. And he's only his children actually inherited the lab, but they've only kind of tried to update that in the best way they can over time. They're FDA accredited for accuracy. Not that we give much credit to government bodies these days, but it has got accreditation for accuracy, that when you're testing the hair, it is highly accurate. In my space, the lab that we use, it just has the best consultants around the world using it. As I say, I went off piece for a long time, used other labs, and in the end, I do joke with colleagues because I just come back to the same one every time. And I said, this is why. We've got the best interpretations. It's the most accurate analysis. It does cost more than other labs, but in my advice, it's, if you get your hair analysis tested once, if I'm at a dinner party, right, or out and about, and I'm talking to people, and I say I do hair analysis, they go, oh yeah, I had my hair analysis done. And I start talking to them, and they didn't have the hair analysis done. So it's a very broad term given to an industry which a lot of it is misleading, the reports. The interpretations are not good, the recommendations are not good, and this is why I use the same lab over and over again, because I know it's a safe pair of hands, and if you're going to get it done, you're going to spend the money, get it done right. And so I know that the procedures they use are the best. I know the equipment they use is the best. These machines are really expensive. These light spectrometers. And so, if you're going to do it and do it right.
Just like anything else, you need
Nice
to
picture, Matt.
do a little bit of research and find out who really has the real deal. Because
do you know what? If you're going to get your hair analysis done, ask them about what machines they use. Ask them how long they've been doing it.
Yeah.
Ask them what consultants they're involved with. All these questions are really valuable. How long have you been measuring it? How long have you been researching it? What's the equipment that you use? What have you got any certification to say that you are approved for accuracy?
Mm-hmm. So we've already vetted you and your lab. So if anyone wants to do that research, I would encourage them to do that. However, if you don't want to do that, if you have enough experience with us to know that we vetted you and the lab already. The lab happens to be in Arizona in America where I live, so I think that's I think it's right in Phoenix, actually.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's in Phoenix.
I was gonna drive. I was like, "Where's the address? I'm gonna drive by and just it's clean, whatever." But
I've got to go.
That was a fleeting thought. That was a fleeting thought. But
I've
no.
been working with those guys for a long time.
So the idea the idea here is that we've already done the work, and I'm glad that you, you know, let people know what the questions would be to ask if they wanted to.
Definitely.
However, yeah, however, we've done that. And so we're going to be, taking some questions because you
I think the
have,
last thing I would say also, just sorry, Tony, is the last thing I would say also is that we in the UK have also developed our newer systems also, which is an algorithm. We put all of the information that keeps on being pumped out by the pioneers initially, but even our own patterns that we're seeing, we pump that into a UK database. And so we're putting every hair test through that if a client wants to work with us. So it's not just the lab's interpretation you're getting, it's our up-to-date interpretation. What my company gives is unique. You don't get it anywhere else on the planet. You can't. The information is ours almost. And so we use the lab report and our own analysis if clients decide to work with us. And so I just wanted to put that one in there.
thank you, and I appreciate that. Let me highlight that. So you're using the best lab, the ones that are doing it correctly. You're getting their high level data, and then you're taking your experience and the people that you've trained and work with you, and then you're taking that data and then you're doing your analysis of that, because the lab will give you their analysis of that. But now you, as the men and women who you know, are going to be looking at that analysis, then you're going to be doing a whole analysis of the data.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
what we do first is I encourage people just to test first, just to test and see if the test resonates. Read the lab report and see if it resonates. And what we do as a company and what my consultants do and myself is that we will contact the person that's had their hair analysis done, and we will leave a WhatsApp message, like a voice note or a Telegram voice note going, hey guys, hey, this is so-and-so from the UK, we've analyzed your hair, and this is the summary. And we'll talk for a few minutes, because I can look at someone's hair test and I can tell you within 1 minute what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so we will give the lab report and the summary, and then we will give our rough interpretation. If a client then wants to move forward and actually work with us, I mean, a lot of clients for me, they just test. It's good enough for them to test. They get the lab report, the summary, and my summary, and they go off and they do their own thing. They don't have to get my advice about what minerals to take. They don't have to book consultation. They don't have to do any of that. And I have loads of clients like that, but they're very independent and they know a lot about health. That's what I would say about those guys. But they just come test and they go away again, do their own thing, and they do their own research. And they don't need me to summarize it because they get it. I'd say if you don't, and if you're on a difficult journey and you're really new to all this, I would definitely say that get the test. If it resonates, get back in touch, and then we can move forward and you can work with us closer.
Okay, excellent. And we're going to be explaining, I haven't been reading the chat too well, but we're going to be explaining how we're working with you and how to, what the options are. So we'll be doing that. What we want to do with the rest of your time, about 15 minutes or so.
Just before we start answering questions, Nikki, if it's okay, if we can please have Will explain what it's going to look like for a person who is just finding MasterPeace or a, one of our loyal. And so what it's going to look like for them when they order the test, and how big is the summary, if there's different options that he can basically go over. And then Will, if you don't mind, I know that he's only come across MasterPeace and everything about 4 months ago. So he had started on with a couple people doing a hair test and kind of doing his own beta testing on just different things and whatnot. And he had gotten in one hair test, and I was hoping that he could kind of describe what he's seen in the test in terms of the results and what it looks like it means. And it's only one test, as far as I know, that has just come in. But if he could do that just before everybody starts breaking, a bunch of questions here.
Do you want me to crack straight on with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right, Matt. Hi, Matt. How you doing?
Hi, brother. How you doing today?
Yeah, good. Yeah, good. Thank you. So what can people expect? So they can expect when they order a test from us, if you are abroad, and you're not in the UK, we send you an email of instructions of how to take the test. Yeah, it's really easy. As you take it from the back of the neck, you fill out a form, put it in an envelope, and you send it to the lab. The lab then sends me the report. Okay, what you can then expect is around a 25 to 30 page report with a summary of your results with a graph. Yeah, that's going to give you, to be fair, a lot of clients go, look, I know I'm going to understand it, but I need some help. That's why we will include it in, just the hair test. We will then contact them and go, right, this is you summarized. This is coming from a hair analysis expert. What's going on with your health? I can do that in 5 to 6, 7 minutes on a WhatsApp message. If they want a quick WhatsApp call, that's absolutely fine as well. Yeah. So the next question was, yeah, we did. We had one guy called Ben who loved the idea of MasterPeace, and he's a hair tester. And he had his hair tested before taking MasterPeace. He was on MasterPeace 4 months. He was doing between, I would say, 5, I should estimate maybe 3 initially to 10 drops of MasterPeace a day. Yeah. What Ben reported to me, because he's a good friend of mine as well, so we communicate a lot, was that MasterPeace initially gave him a lot more energy. And so it gave him a real lift. I would possibly put that down to the sodium content of the MasterPeace, but other factors as well. And what I noticed specifically with the test, which was really interesting, was an increase straight away of minerals that are usually tough to get out, toxic minerals that are tough to get out. In this case, I saw a rise in copper, iron, and manganese on the test. So remember we talked about before how copper, iron, and manganese are usually quite difficult to shift from the body. Well, I saw 3 times the amount of manganese coming out on that hair test, and that's him getting rid of it. I also saw toxic metals, arsenic, lead, aluminium coming out as well, and also an increase in his sodium level, because sodium's essential for how we feel with adrenal health. And if you get a boost of sodium, that's going to circulate around the body. That's going to really, really help the body organs and glands function. And that's going to give you a boost to aid detoxification as well. And so I put that down to MasterPeace, not only having the ability to detoxify the body, but also having the high sodium content, which would obviously boost the body and have the ability to detox more.
Excellent. Yeah, I wasn't aware of those after results there.
Yeah. And also catching up with them as well. I mean, this is the thing. What we do is we talk to the clients, and so we get them to fill out a symptom sheet with us on the hair test. And often people forget the symptoms that they have. And so if they, it's a human condition to do that. It's like, oh, I've got this ache and pain today, or I've got this one today. A year later, oh, I've got this ache and pain today, I've got another one. So yeah, but a year ago, how many aches and pains do you have? 50? And how many you got now? Oh, I've got 5. So it's really important to how clients feel. It's like, how do they feel on the product? But also, I mean, what I think is integral to say at this point is that we are a container full of, I don't want to be negative here, but imbalances. Yeah, I think there's a massive positive aspect to every single one of us, and we don't tap into that enough. But as we start to heal, the body's like an onion, and layers start to peel off. Yeah. And so that will be different layers of toxicity. That will be different layers of emotional trauma. The body doesn't just physically detox, it emotionally detoxes. So people shouldn't be scared or worried if you do start to feel any sort of detoxification reaction or emotional reaction, because it's a positive sign. It's what we call in the industry a healing crisis. And we are a big old fat onion, and once the layers start coming off, and as those toxins are sometimes removed. Someone can feel more fearful, someone can feel more angry. Sometimes it can be an emotion that all of a sudden can be let go of because that toxin was creating that emotion. Or it could be that emotional trauma which attracted that toxin. It's absolutely fascinating. We don't know enough. And so I just wanted to add that in there as well for clients, because I think it's integral. And what I do with my practice is we co-detoxification, whether it's sauna therapy, and I know Matt and your team are into your sauna therapy. I saw Matt getting out of sauna the other day. That was pretty exciting. I know you guys are into sauna therapy. I know you're into other detoxification protocols. Sometimes when the body has released toxins and it can't get rid of them out of the detox pathways fast enough, that can sometimes cause a symptom, a mild symptom, or a willpower to drink more water. But that's where it's good to, have people that know what they're talking about.
When we do a part 2, and we'll have more time for Q&A then, or whenever that is going to happen, I definitely want to talk to you more about that emotional detoxification piece, because you and I have talked about that a couple times, and we're on the same level.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely got time for some questions, and so if anybody wants to fire away.
Yeah, sure. I just know that we won't have time for all our questions, and so
well, as I've said, I think I'm happy to take questions on the Human Consciousness Support channel, which I'm a member of. So if anybody wants to fly me, make them quick if you can. And
so let me lay that out now then. So what Will is going to do is he is on our Telegram chat. I'm assuming you're on the official channel as well. And so
yeah.
I've seen you answer a few questions on the chat. And so if you want to tag him on the chat, he can answer it there. Or I don't know if you're willing to have someone DM you, or if you just rather have it on the chat. Let's say somebody has a personal question.
I would say if it's a real personal thing to them, please feel free to DM. It's fine. Just try and keep it short. Just give
short, right?
And then but yeah, if it's a generic question which you think would be helpful for other people to have answered, put it on the group, and I can answer it, and everyone can see it.
Please be respectful of his time, everyone, if you're going to ask him a question directly. So with that said, after you leave, we'll talk about what's going to be on our website and the program and all that, because we already have that information. So I'd really like to keep this time right now that you have left. And you have what, 5-10 minutes left?
Yeah, I can do probably 10 to 15. Yeah.
Okay. All right then. So raise your hand if you have a question, whether it's visible or it's on Zoom. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to preferentially choose people that have their cameras on, and nobody does right now. Okay. Judith, you had your hand up before. Please. Yeah, you're muted, Judith. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Matt. Senna.
Okay, thank you. My question is, when you do the testing, I have very thin hair, and I'm wondering, when you test and you cut the hair off, and if I were to store it, does the hair lose any of its accuracy? I don't know how to put it.
It's actually locked in. It's dead cells that are locked in that won't change.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it's locked in body chemistry, and so you can put it in your drawer for a month if you like. What I will say is, if you're going to take it, send it off straight away, because it's going to give you the reading for the last 4 months, and it might not be relevant for you to send that hair test off in 6 months.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Send it straight away, because then we can give you an accurate reading of what's been going on for you in the last 4 months.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. You said a tablespoon, so I'm not sure. I don't know how much I can afford to take off without getting a wig.
Yeah, it doesn't, it's not that much. It's kind of, if you take from different areas, you'll be okay.
Well, I don't have many different areas. So
I feel you,
I better
girlfriend.
wait until.
I feel you. I feel you. It's going to take me 2 years to grow back what I cut off.
I mean, it's, again, it doesn't have to be just from the back. It can be from the top as well, just strands from the top.
Gotcha.
We don't really want the front. We're just anything from here down.
Oh, you want the front and the back?
No, just I would say from the middle of the top to the back.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
There's different strands from different areas. It might look quite funky. You never know.
No, thank you. But thank you so much for your time and information. It's
No problem.
been very, very informative. Thank you.
No problem.
Judith. And Doug was next. You got to unmute yourself, everyone, when you're going to make a comment. You got to unmute yourself.
All right,
Everyone's
my bad.
muted.
I unmuted him, then I muted him. So the other
Can you hear me now?
Thanks
Yep.
for your patience, Doug.
Okay, so I just want to get some understanding of, from whatever knowledge base you have, understanding that there's ongoing testing with MasterPeace. We're talking about the longevity of results, or how quick you will find results. Now, when I started about 3.5 months ago, I had terrible brain fog, and within 48 hours, it went away. So that impressed me enough to say, hey, I have to stay on this. However, what happened was that I fell into a period where I was so weak that I couldn't function. And I was reaching out for a local holistic doctor who could help me. And when I got my testing done, it was discovered that I had very high levels of lead and cadmium. And, it went right off the chart. And all my other toxic metals were within the green zone. But, I know that from my past work involved with construction, industrial environments, that's where I got contaminated. Okay. So I started saying, gee, I don't know if I can wait for MasterPeace to show me the results I need. So I started doing EDTA chelation therapy and immediately got strong results. Now, I know the people involved with MasterPeace are often against EDTA. I know Dr. Robert Young is, but how do you explain my condition when I needed results? And I will tell you also that I'm a Morgellons sufferer for years, and I've learned a whole lot more about Morgellons and, how I contracted it from aerosolization. And I needed to get this metal out of my body because I know that's another metal component. So I have a double whammy that's been wearing me down, and I haven't been able, of course, get rid of the Morgellons very easily because it was designed to be incurable. So what kind of length of time are you suggesting that I would see results from, at least, let's say, lowering my toxicity overall?
I would say if you're making an effort with regular MasterPeace, with other detoxification protocols as well, such as maybe sauna therapy, you could look at things like coffee enema, you could look at skin scrubbing. I would always say to people 1 year.
Oh, a whole year.
I would say a year to get rid of a lot of the toxicity. A year was where the hard work is done. That's not to say you won't start feeling better quicker. And so, from my understanding, did you say that the brain fog left after 2 days of taking MasterPeace?
Gone. And
right.
The problem that I ran into is that I was so enthralled with the MasterPeace that I hit the third bottle I had bought. I had hit it. So when I ran out, I couldn't find that bottle right away. I freaked out. So I decided I'm going to order more. But the brain fog came back. And of course, the second time around, 48 hours, the brain fog was gone. So I know that marine plasma works. It's natural.
Yeah.
I understand from my contacts with Dr. Will Spencer about hair analysis, and it's fascinating using the right frequency technology to really analyze in very deep detail, better than blood, what the problems are on an individual basis. So, I certainly am a believer in what you're doing with hair.
Yeah, I would also say that if you've got free floating toxicity in your bloodstream and MasterPeace was attaching to that easily and it's removing it from your system, that's why the brain fog was possibly going away as well. And so it was collecting possibly a lot of that free floating toxicity, which is affecting your brain, attaching to it and delivering it out of the system. But when you stopped taking it, the toxicity kept on coming from different areas of the body where it was stored, and so the brain fog was coming back. Did you say that you then suffered fatigue, debilitating fatigue, before or after?
It actually after using it,
Right.
my
So you,
my fatigue sort of increased, but I think that was triggered by not being on the product for a week or so.
and do you
So
take any sort of supplementation or?
I take a blood pressure medicine, lisinopril. That's it.
Right. So again, what we were talking about, touching on earlier, was mineral gapping as well. And so it's very good when you're going to take a product like MasterPeace to have a good amount of nutrition going in as well. And because
Or with it, I took also Master Restore with it. I don't know from what you said that that's wise, but I took it along with it.
yeah, I mean, that's going to, cleanse the gut out and that sort of thing, and attach the toxins that are being released. But once toxins, such as, lead or cadmium or anything like that, when they leave the body, sometimes they were, using those toxins, the body's using those toxins for function. And so taking things like zinc, calcium, magnesium, that sort of thing is going to help you possibly to avoid that fatigue. It also could have been a detoxification reaction if you just did too much. And you listen, I mean, MasterPeace is a great product. It gives the body a real boost. Yeah. And so when that marine plasma and that sodium starts hitting the cells, that's giving it a lot more conductivity. I mean, I've seen it with my clients, and they're like, "Woo, this product is amazing." And the body starts getting more adaptive energy. The body can start to self-clean itself. That could plastic start flowing out, toxins start flowing out. So that could be, make sure you're drinking distilled water or anything like that at the start. Make sure you're drinking it away from food. Make sure your blood sugar is good with the diet you're eating. Lots of protein, high quality proteins. Again, lots of water, the odd sauna. Give your body help while you're detoxing.
I must say I was drawn in by your commentary on bone loss. I'm 71 now, and I started to develop a problem with bone loss in my jaw to the point where the x-rays revealed that I needed to have bone replacement. So I had a surgery, and the doctor said, you better get a bone density test. And so after that surgery was scheduled for a shoulder replacement surgery, and I called it off because the weakness started to become so extreme. I said, what am I doing? Rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic here? I'm going to go to my grave with nice shoulders and all, but, I'm gone. So I said, I got to find out why I'm so weak. And that's on my quest to find a doctor that would take Medicare, which I couldn't find any, but eventually I did find one. And I started getting treatment, and I found such great results. Is there a problem at all with me taking EDTA and MasterPeace together?
Will, can I respond to that just a hair? Because I'll make it super quick.
Yeah.
EDTA works a lot like humic acid and fulvic acid combination, which has been a very effective way to remediate soil, as well as it's been a human consumption product. So just remember in acid, right? So EDTA is an acid. It's kind of like our prescription pills. When we're feeling bad, you can take a bunch of antibiotics and you can feel better immediately, and it's undeniable. And so people can't refute that. Now, is antibiotics good for you in the long term? No. And we know that inherently that we compromise the long term because we need a short term problem. Just like if we're having an issue with anxiety, pain, or anything, we can take a benzo, we can take a pain pill, we can take all forms of prescription pills, and in the moment, and right away, we will definitely feel better. EDTA, you're going to feel a lot better for a couple weeks. You did feel a lot better. Basically, everybody does. But the reason is because you're dealing with, just like with prescription pills, you have 30 different ingredients that's in a prescription pill. If you look up each one of those ingredients separately, they all have negative, harmful side effects. They're all industrialized chemicals put together. And so EDTA is just like that. That's why it was released as an emergency use authorization. And what EDTA is doing is you're taking the ingredients of cyanide, sodium cyanide, you're taking formaldehyde, and then you're taking acid, and you're literally putting water to it. Okay? When you do that, there's no way to make that where it's healthy. But what it is doing to the body, that is definitely going to lead everybody to feeling better in the moment. I got bees all around me, guys. I'm so sorry. You're going to see them flying. But the reason why you're seeing it be so helpful in the short term is because it is dissolving down. It is dissolving. Acids dissolve. It is dissolving down your macro problems down into the micro. So in the immediate, now that there's a big thing happening with if it's going inside the cell, it's going to different parts of the body, you basically dislodged it and let it go everywhere. You're going to feel a lot better right then. But don't make any bones about it. You're not going to feel real good. Keep taking EDTA. In the next year, you're not going to feel any better than you feel right now. You're probably going to feel quite a bit worse. And the reason is you are actually exacerbating the problem because you're dissolving it down so that it's inside deeper layers of you as you're still bringing stuff in. And I would be worried that, so I would try to get away from things that are not actually addressing the root cause of the problem. You're really only pushing it off and sweeping it underneath the rug for the time being with things like anything with acid like EDTA. And we do it. So that was it. Sorry.
No, that's a good answer. Will, do you have to run right now?
No, I've just postponed for another 10 minutes. I've someone messaged me.
Oh,
So I've just
perfect. Okay, good. Okay.
I don't want to
so-
hog. I don't want to
Thank
hog.
you, Will.
So I thank you for all your.
No problem. I
But-
wish you all the best with your journey.
Well, I'm looking to get the medals out, and I'm going to stay on MasterPeace. That's for sure.
Well done. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Stay tuned for more calls with Will too, Doug, so we can track, your progress as well as others.
Thank
And
you.
we are going to explain the whole program that we have. So everyone on the chat, just be patient. So what I want to do now is take one more question. If we can get two in, that's great. But Esther's had her hand up for a while.
Thank you. I would just like to know the address of Will on Telegram and how much does the test cost, and how many tests how often should one repeat the test?
Okay. Hello there. Sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Esther.
Esther. Hi. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Good. Okay, good question, Esther. So what we charge for a hair analysis in the UK is £149. But what we're going to do, and this is why I love working with MasterPeace and the team, because what I'm about to tell you is that they are going to discount that basically down to I offered them a discount, and they're going to pass it straight on to you guys. And so it's going to be basically £130, I think, for the hair test, the summary, and my summary as a consultant as well. I would say you probably need a test every 4 to 5 months. Yeah. And so that averages out at like £30 to £40 a month to get, well, in my opinion, the best test around. And so it's keeping you on check, keeping what you're doing. If you don't need to be testing every few weeks or even every month or even every 2 months, I would say 4 to 6 months is probably fine. It does depend also on the results. If the results are borderline for your metabolism or oxidation, to retest sooner. Because if your oxidation changes and you're on the wrong products, maybe you're on fast oxidation products instead of slow, I might say, look, I think in 3 months' time, it would be better to test. But if you've got a stuck-in pattern on the hair analysis, I would probably leave it for 6 months.
And what is your address on Telegram?
I've just changed it to Mineral Man, and so it's Mineral Man 33. But I'm actually on the Telegram group, on the Human Consciousness Support Telegram group, so you can get me on there.
So Esther,
I see.
any email that you get from us on the bottom, we have all of our links, and our Telegram channel link will be there if you're not there already on our channel. And from there, you can find our chat. We don't usually advertise the chat too much because the chat is a very casual environment where a lot of things are talked about. So our main channel on Telegram is going to be in our emails. I don't know, Matt, if you want to just drop that chat link. I don't know if that's typical, if that's something that you do, but
Sure thing.
he's under Phineas 33, is that right?
Oh, so Phineas 33, yes, sorry. That's well, yeah. Phineas, I've changed my name several times. Phineas 33, but I think it's hashtag or at minimal man, I'm not sure. But yeah, Phineas 33 was the original. I think so, yeah. Whatever comes up for me, yeah.
Yeah, so
And
you can there.
Yeah, I just have an additional question. How long does it take to get a reply for the test?
Where are you based?
In Canada.
You're based in Canada, so I think it should be at the lab within maybe 4 to 5 days. The lab usually takes 6 to 7, 8 days, and so I would have thought safely within 2 weeks.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Okay, excellent. We have time for one more. Will is stuck.
Yeah, hey, I'm back again.
Hey, Doug.
Hey. I actually done a hair mineral analysis twice, and actually just a quick question. When you get the results back, when you do the, when you correct the imbalances, the mineral imbalances, is it possible to not include coffee enemas and maybe use Master Restore or Oxy pills or something like that?
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to use coffee enemas. I mean, I have clients that do really well taking detoxification protocols, such as nanozeolite, supplementation, and sauna. I have clients that just do the supplements and change their diets, and they get amazing results. And so it's really how long is a piece of string. There's going to be a lot of advice there. If you go onto a healing program with us, you don't have to. You can just do the hair test and test yourself. If you do advance to a healing program, which is what I call the mineral method, there's a load of advice there. It advises you, on food, how to move properly, how to do grounding, how to change your environment, how to release traumas. And so we do go into another level. And so the hair testing is just one thing. It's how to heal, which is the big thing. It's great to find out what's wrong with you, but it's also great to find out how many other things you can do to heal. And there will be one thing, or maybe 1, 2, or 3 things that will resonate with you. Just because everybody else does it, it doesn't mean you should do it. And it doesn't mean it will agree with you. And so I think Terry started the call by saying, use your gut. And intuitively, are you drawn to this thing? Are you not drawn to this protocol? Whether it be coffee enema or sauna or, reflexology, whatever. What is it that you feel comfortable with doing? What is it that you feel drawn to? And so you absolutely don't have to do coffee enemas at all. You could do colonic irrigation if you want to every 6 months or something like that.
That's even worse.
No.
I was trying to...
Some, there's, I've gone up the road, the queue's out the door half the time, so some people love it.
Okay. And for instance, Master Restore would be okay to clean the gut?
Attach the toxins within the gut.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's a different system. You're talking about a different system with coffee enemas. It's getting the increased blood flow to the liver, and so it's actually detoxing. There's many elements to coffee enemas where the coffee's absorbed into colon, which is helping the body. It helps you with pain relief and stuff like that. So it's a different system, basically.
All right. Thank you.
No problem.
Well, I know you got to run, if not right now in like 1 minute, and we really appreciate you coming on the call. We're going to have you on again. We're going to have a lot more time for Q&A, and we're going to explain as the program continues, maybe some of the results that we're seeing, and anyone that wants to share those on here. I was going to share my own hair mineral analysis test. It didn't come back yet, and I didn't do yours because I didn't know about you then, and I'm going to pretty much throw the results out the door, but I'm interested to see.
So Terry, one thing I want to lastly say is that I was introduced to MasterPeace 4 months ago. I was introduced to the team 4 months ago, and I know it's hard sometimes when you come into a new product and new people, and there's so many groups out there, there's so many products out there for nutritional healing and that sort of thing. And I do my own vetting as well when I'm dealing with people. But all I can say is to anyone that's watching is that I've worked with several now of the team, including yourself, Terry, Matt Hazen, Matt Senna, Caroline Mansfield, and I haven't even talked about the sort of person that I am. I am a wide open empath. I've got a very strong spiritual path, and I can work people out quite quickly. And all I have to say about the team is that it's been a lovely energy exchange. I've got a good, eye and intuition for people, and I just think these guys and this team is trying to really help people and the world. And I know it's not just about money, because I've had an instance where I've offered an affiliation to Matt Hazen, and he said, no, pass the discount on to the clients. That's what I want. I believe that you guys are really trying to help. And I just want to add that for anyone that's watching, because it's hard sometimes when you come into a new product, you don't know who's behind it. But I've had experience of that now for 4 to 5 months, and you're all lovely. So just wanted to add that.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And we think the world of you as well. So it's going to be a great working relationship that we have with you. And I'm really looking forward to that moving forward.
Good. Well, thank you so much for your time as well. And I hope it was helpful. And I say, guys, any questions you've got, just ping them on Telegram, make them short and sweet. And in the future, I hope to be back. Maybe in the future, we can actually, now we've done the big introduction, we can actually maybe have a look at a hair test. Someone that's in exhaustion, possibly someone that's in the alarm stage of stress, and just see how things are changing. Again, we have an exciting trial ending with MasterPeace in the next couple of weeks, where we have a relatively large cohort of clients. I'm really looking forward to those results.
Oh, excellent. Yep. Yeah, that is our study. All right. And we're going to stay on the call, everybody. I know Robert had his hand up, and so we're going to stay on the call and answer more questions too. But I know Will has to run, and he's been gracious with his time, and he's given us more than he promised. So I appreciate that. So we'll see you next time, and we'll keep in touch.
Good stuff. Okay. Thanks.
Love you, Will. Thank you, Will, for being about what you're about, man. Seriously.
No, and you.
Mm.